Is it real? Is it true? Is the jazz playing? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't think it is. I don't think I added it back into the thing, but so everything's good? Okay, good. I mean, y'all, I don't even know. That's for you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. It's so good to be back. That there's some sayings that get said, like when I got I had been in car accidents with deer, because I lived in Iowa, and I remember there was this one. I mean, it happens many times. My brother-in-law Jack just had this experience, and I remember one time this particular deer incident. I got out of the car and I was so afraid. It was so scary that my knees were knocking. My knees were actually knocking. It was like boom, boom, boom. I was so scared. And we say we're back in the saddle. Yeah, it's great to be back in the saddle. I actually feel like this is a saddle, and I'm back in it, and it's good to be back in it. I'm like, yeah. So it feels so good to be back. I'm so glad to be back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Stephanie Cake. Oh, it's the kitten. It's the kitten. It's the sewing kitten. Oh my God, I wanted to see him so bad. I wanted to see the kitty so bad.
Oh, our little Quilt Nerd sweatshop kitten.
Oh yeah, she works so hard. And she works so hard for you. It's so wonderful. Okay, let's see. What can we do? We can do this. Hold on, we can do this. Kitty Hannah, you gifted a tier 1 sub to the community. I hold 7647. You just got a gift certificate subscription from Kitty Hannah. Kitty Hannah, thank you so much. Kitty Hannah, I really, really appreciate you. You're really the best.
And there was no monkey business about it either.
We're just going to play all the sound cues. I'm so happy to be back. Kitty, that was so cool. I really appreciate you. And you've you gifted a sub. And so Eierhold, you have you've got access to all the tier 1 emotes, and you'll go into the giveaway, in June, and we give away stuff and we go places. And the reason I haven't been around is because I've been traveling. We went to the New England Quilt Museum, and you're going to see something from that trip tonight. And then we went to New York City, and we went to the American Folk Art Museum, right? My great cats. I took you to New York City. We took you to New York City. Stephanie Cake was there. Jill Alexander was there. My mom was there. That was really special. It's hard to get to New York City, but with Quilt Nerd, you can go on the road with me, and you can see the stuff. And that stream wasn't even subscriber only. That was for the people. And that video I'm going to upload to YouTube. The American Folk Art Museum was so amazing. And so the post-production is starting to begin. So I'll post that to YouTube. But right now you can see the video on the Twitch channel, which hopefully you're watching on the Twitch channel. And it's, the video on demand, the VODs. For those in the know, it's down there, and it'll be down there for, 30 days, 60 days or something. But I'll put it on YouTube as well. My name is Mary Fons, and this is Quilt Nerd, and it's my favorite thing. I wish it was my only thing sometimes to do, but it cannot be. It cannot be my only thing, not yet anyway. I want to welcome everybody who's watching, and those of you who are watching on the replay. And I don't know, there was a hype train. There might actually be another hype train because people are resubscribing. I know the schedule's been pretty crazy this month. You know what? It's just the way it is. I'm a gal on the go. And this show really does travel around. And when it does, and when I'm filming a series, a workshop, we're going to talk about that very briefly. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of the trailer, actually. So there's a video trailer that Mom and I filmed when we were on the set, and it doesn't actually drop till tomorrow with Quilt Folk, but I asked Mike if I could play it for you tonight, and he said yes, so I'm going to play it. Anyway, so it's doing that, and anyway, but this is the normal show. This is the regular show. Hey, Kay! And everybody who subscribes to this show, I mean, I know, the schedule's been a little weird. Maybe you haven't renewed because you're like, there was a show canceled, and then there was another one, but then there was a special stream. I don't know what's happening. It's a crack up. Whoa, it's crack up. But you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry. Because what happens with this show is that we explore quilts, and it's not a presentation, it's an exploration. And if I was giving a presentation, I would have to be, very serious, and we'd have to be here, and we'd never deviate, and nothing would ever happen out of the ordinary. But because it's an exploration of quilts and quilt culture and quilt history and like all the things that quilts are and what they do and who they touch and who touches them, we're traveling feet, and sometimes things change. And so I appreciate your patience. I do, because, schedules are tough, and like, oh man, schedules are tough, and also just technology is tough. I don't know if you've ever had trouble getting online or sending an email, you know what I mean? Or like doing anything on a computer. It can be really difficult. So when you're doing this stuff, yeah, it's just like you got a tiger by the tail, you got to hold on for dear life. So I really appreciate patience, like, when's the show, what's happening. We do our best. I do my best to keep everything, as accurate as possible. But my mom said once, I'm sure I've told you all this before, or I've told all of you this before, but she said once, anything that's ever been printed about me, Mary, on paper, in the paper, anywhere, is like full of errors, and now, and we're going to talk to Stephanie Cake here in 2 seconds, but like now a lot of people are like researching things and doing things, and some of you are doing that because Quilt Nerd's like really inspiring you to do some of that, which is really cool. And you now, the more expert you get in the thing that you're researching, the more you're like, well, found something today that was totally incorrect, and it's like, so, you got to roll with it, man. I came up with an adage. Is it an aphorism or an adage? I don't know, but it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. And this is not having anything to do with Quilt Nerd. It's a couple months ago I came up with it. Maybe I already told you. This is not because of what I was talking about. It's just in general. If you can complain about it, it's not a crisis. I mean, think about it. Because, like, if there's a crisis, nobody's complaining. You act, right? I mean, when it's a real thing, and no, it's such a terrible thing. There's no time to do anything but act. You have to react. You have to deal with it, But like, I complain about stuff all the time. It's not a crisis, I'm just like, oh, I want this. I don't have it, So anyway, I'm bubbly with excitement to be back with you. I missed you all so much, and I want to say hi to everybody. First of all, I want to say hi to Stephanie Cake. Stephanie Cake!
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Time flies. It's been a week since I saw you, and man, this month has flown by. It's crazy.
It was just a week ago today, or
yeah.
a week. Yeah, it was a week ago today. It was a week.
Yeah. I was in New York a week ago today. Feels like it was yesterday. Time flies.
It really does fly. May has gone quickly. We had a good time out there, and
we did. It was just too short, but it was so good to see you, and I'm so glad we're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back, and I mean, we have to leave again later, but not today, and not Saturday, and not Tuesday. We got lots of time. Let me tell you, yeah, okay, tech, hauling the lights and the stuff. No one is actually happier than I to just be sitting here with a green screen behind me, and I didn't have to haul anything. So Ivy's here. Ivy, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 2. You've been subscribed for 17 months. Ivy, you're going to make an appearance on the show tonight. Yes, you are. It's great to see you. Hey, Kathy and Hope and Padma. Hello. Kenny's here. God bless you, Kenny. Fiandor coming in with that music. Oh, it's so great to see you. Lisa Makes. I'm just calling their all. Jacom Jellies. Dee Dee Roo Crew. Yes. It's okay. Jacom Jellies. It's great to see you. Myra, hello, my dear. Sparkles Mosby. I love saying the word sparkle. It's one of my favorite words. Molly's here, and Jan, and Mother Nature. Molly, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 2. You've been subscribed for 20 months. Were your ears burning today? I was talking about you today a couple times with Carrie Dell of AQSG. Interesting. Also, interesting. Saucy Stitcher, I know we have to talk also. Saucy Stitcher, hello. Got that backwards in. Angelina's here. I'm so happy to see you. Oh, that's good. Lots of good discussion in the chat. Saucy Stitcher, thank you so much for subscribing at Tier 2. You've been subscribed for 14 months. I appreciate you. You're on a 14-month streak. Lisa Makes, maybe I said hi. Miss Shawl, thank you so much. You've been a subscriber at Tier 1 for 9 months. You're on a 9-month streak. Good evening to you. Grits and Butter's here. Robin is here. I don't always call the roll, but tonight I got to do it. Slow So, hey Slow So. And M. Hicks. We really are here in feral time. Feral time? Did you mean to say feral time? I hope so. Anyway, Niflinster and Jill Alex. Padma, thank you so much for subscribing at Tier 2. You've been subscribed for 20 months. You're on a 20-month streak. And Niflinster, you also subscribed at Tier 2. Oh, I love my Tier 2ers. I love everybody who subscribes. Really appreciate you at any Tier 2. Awesome. You get like the Sunday social and stuff, and that's really been fun, Kitty Hannah, it's really been a long time. Thank you so much for subscribing at Tier 1. You've been subscribed for 16 months. My great cats. Oh my God. Lady K is here, and Chris Mess is here. Hello. Wait a minute. Chris Mess. It's been a damn long time. It's been too long. I'm so glad you're here. You're going to love everything tonight. I look great? Oh, thank you. Oh, great. Fandor, you've been subscribed for 19 months at Tier 1. Stitch and Deb, Tier 1, 16 months. It's so great. I'm glad you're here too and catching a live. Quack Quack Cat, it's great to see you. Great to be back. And Calamity Cortez, you know what? You've been coming around, and I love to see it. Anybody who's in the Lurker Lounge tonight, I'm glad that you're here. A lady about town. It's true. Amy Pabst. Oh, man. I was thinking about you today. I think about a lot of you all day. Okay, Megan GJB. And I think I'm almost there. And if I missed anybody, I am so sorry. But I'm going to hey, Dee Marie, I just feel like I haven't talked to you in so long. Dee Dee, thank you so much for subscribing at Tiers U. You've been subscribed for 17 months. You're on a 17-month streak. Babe. Myra, thank you for subscribing. Druid Godmother, babe, thank you so much for subscribing. A Nun Maker, thank you so much for resubscribing. And we got there, and it's Quack Quack Cat, and here we are. Oh my God, I had to do it. Can't do it on the road, really. Okay. So, first up, I'm going to tell you, today we're going to look, we got a quilt behind me that matters a lot to me, and hopefully it'll matter to you. So this is like a Quilt Nerd classic show, because we can do that, and so we got an intro quilt, and then I've got some amazing content for you, including some stuff that, there's so much. Let me look at my Quilt Nerd content plan. We're going to look at Dominique Ehrman. She has a piece at the New England Quilt Museum. I took a little video of it. Slim Quilt Pants, if you're out there. And the lovely Max, Salad something. Your screen name is Salad something, and now I can't remember. Slim Quilt Pants was at the New England Quilt Museum, and Max was with her. I don't know if it's your partner or not, Slim Quilt Pants. I don't want to assume. But Max is great, and he's a nerd. And I took some video of an amazing piece at the New England Quilt Museum, and Slim Quilt Pants and Max were there, so I'm going to show you that and talk about Dominique Ehrman. She's incredible, a sculptress, a quilt sculptress. We're also going to talk about, I'm going to show you that trailer for Finishing School, but we're also going to talk about Amy. This came up randomly. Amy, help me with the last name. It's Amy Alstrom.
Amy Alstrom?
Amy
Oh, okay.
Alstrom. Yeah.
Yes. You sent me that link.
Yes. Yeah. I couldn't remember the name. Amy Alstrom. Because here's the thing. So there's that. And then when I was at the New England Quilt Museum, there were nerds who came to hang, right? There was Saucy Stitcher. Hello, darling. There was Ivy Kadivy. We had Slim Quilt Pants and Max. We had Jill Alexander. We had Marianne Fons. And we had... I think that's it. Oh, God. Yeah.
Pam Weeks? Did you mention Pam Weeks?
I don't think Pam Weeks is a nerd. Yeah, I hope that she might consider it. But yeah, Pam was there. So right before we left, and the video that we took, I have to talk to Pam. I have to edit a little bit, and then we're going to watch on the show the video that I took of Pam leading us through some galleries. But I want to make sure that I've got everything shipshape with Pam before we watch that together. Rather than go live at the New England Quilt Museum when we were there, we did this different style, right? So I recorded the tour, and then now we'll watch the tour together on the show. But Pam was so amazing, and the New England Quilt Museum was so amazing. I just want to make sure things are like shipshape with them before we like do the thing, you know, on the internet where everything lives forever. It wasn't like anything scandalous happened, but like, you know, it's courtesy, you know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, so that's one treat coming up for you in the coming days and weeks, whatever. But at the end, before we left the museum, we were all, the nerds that I just mentioned, were kind of sitting in the library. And I was like, hang on, I have an opportunity. Let's do a little focus group. Let's talk to these people. And I asked them two questions. I asked all those folks two questions. I said, number one, you know, what do you like? Where's the energy in quilt history for you? Like, what are you into? You know, it's not a long video, but everyone had wonderful things to say. And then I also said, what do you like on Quilt Nerd? What do you want to see more of? What do you like? So we're gonna watch it. It's so interesting, and you get to meet some nerds. We're gonna do that too. So it's like, I don't know. We might be here a while. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. So that's kind of what's going on. So here's what the quilt is behind me. Let's talk about it. Because I've been gone all month and it's been such a crack up over here, I have, let me get small. Hey, Betsy Dragonfly, thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. You are on a year-long streak. You have subscribed for 16 months. Thank you so much. And Yakamo, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Okay. It's hard for me to stop saying hi. All right. So I've been gone, and so it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And Steph, I know you've probably thought about that because of Dunton and you mentioned, I think last year, good heavens, has it been a year since you were like, by the way, because I remember you being like, right?
Yeah.
Didn't I remember?
Yeah, I pulled together some, I think it was later in the year than this.
Yeah.
So it wasn't May, but yeah, and Dunton.
Dunton. So it's mental health awareness month, and I pride myself on the fact that this show, our show, we don't need a special month to, talk about awesome stuff that needs to be focused on sometimes, specifically, intentionally. But it's a nice thing, when it's like an occasion to look at, Native American quilts, or, look at, AIDS awareness quilts, or, mental health kind of stuff. It's a good occasion to do that. And so a couple of the things tonight have to do with that. And I'm going to toss it to Stephanie in a little bit, but I can mention something about William Dunton too in just a minute. But I thought that I would share this quilt with you tonight as the intro quilt. And we always start with a different quilt behind me, and we examine it and look at it. This is a quilt by one of my favorite quilt makers of all time, one of my favorite artists of all time, Yvonne Wells. And Yvonne Wells made this quilt, Walk a Mile in My Shoes. Hey, Jill Alex, thank you so much for subscribing. At Tier 2, you've been subscribed for 18 months. You are a Tier 2 subscriber, and I'm so happy. I'm so glad that you subscribed for Tier 2. Okay. And Shauna, thank you so much. Oh, gosh, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it, Shauna. The support means a lot, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Yvonne Wells lives in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I would really, 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 really love it if somebody would write a book about her. So I believe she is doing well in Tuscaloosa, but she's probably getting up there in years. She's an incredible artist. She was a physical education teacher for many years, and started making quilts and selling them a little bit later in life, I believe. And she's just fascinating. And the quilt that I have is from this book, Stitching Memories, African American Story Quilts. Thank you, Steph. Right there. Bam! This is Eva Ungar Gruden. This is a wonderful book. It's a wonderful book. It was the Williams College Museum of Art exhibit in 1990. I mean, my book is falling apart because I've photocopied things and scanned things so much, but it's fabulous. It's so beautiful. The paper is wonderful. The writing is wonderful. And Yvonne Wells has had several quilts in this show, And and this is one of the quilts that's in the book. I mean, just the paper, everything is so good. It's so good. And we're Abe Books affiliates here. We are an Abe Books affiliate. So if you use the link that Steph gave, or is it in Abe Books? Do we have an Abe Books link for it? We do, right? You just put it there.
Yes. I actually created one. You have met, and I think some of the nerds have seen this before. I think Mother Nature just said she has the book. But you have shown this a very long time ago. You showed, I don't know if it's this quilt, but you talked about this book.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a link for it.
Really?
So I made a link. Yeah.
Thank you so much for making that link, and I hope people use it. I mean, it's out of print. Most of the books we talk about on Quilt Nerd are out of print, but you can get them through Abe Books most of the time. And if you use our affiliate link, you know how that stuff works now. We get a few cents, and it's okay. It's nice. I get a payout when it reaches $50. I'd love to have one of those. I think I had it. No, I did have one. It was great. It's great. It's amazing. It's amazing. Every bit helps. Believe me. It takes a lot of money to go to New York. Okay, so this quilt by Yvonne Wells, I'm going to read to you. So one of the great things about this book is that it has the artist's voices, Sorry, I should have been scrolling on this quilt. Let me make myself a little bit less in the picture. Hold on. I mean, do we really need me to be that big? No, we do not. Okay. So Yvonne talks about her quilt in this book. Okay, so there's these figures on it, you see. Here's what she has to say. And I'll scroll as I read best I can. Okay. Oh, it's fascinating. Okay, Yvonne Wells found this old string quilt at a garage sale. Okay, so what I want to point out to you is that she found an old quilt at a garage sale and used it as her canvas. So it's an old quilt that she has made into a new quilt with applique on top of it. I mean, yeah. So, pretty incredible. Okay. She said, quote, "It was in a very bad fix," this quilt. There were several holes in it, some of them quite large. For months, Miss Wells kept looking for a story in that old quilt. Then, inspired by the proverb, "Don't criticize until you've walked a mile in my shoes," which she knew from a song that came out in the early 1970s, she devised an original tale about a young man who criticizes an old man for never having amounted to much. She saw the strips as obstacles. She saw the strips as obstacles the old man had overcome. To illustrate the story, Ms. Wells appliqued onto the original cloth. Where there were holes, she covered them with the house and 2 lakes. She chose her cloth carefully to blend in with the muted tones of the original. She worked with cotton, except for a few passages in silk. Ms. Wells said, quote, "My husband once brought back some silk from Okinawa. I used that silk on this quilt. I just felt so sorry for the old man in the story that I gave him 3 silk trees so that he could have some of the finer things in life." Okay. Now, the reason I wanted this is, it's Mental Health Month, and I thought this was a really it was like, listen to the story she tells the story that's on this quilt, okay? This is in her words, quote, "A young man confronts an 85-year-old man and accuses him of not prospering over the years. The old man," I'm going to start at the top here. "The old man responds by telling the young one not to criticize until he's walked a mile in his shoes, which are very sad-looking, worn-down shoes lying next to him. He then proceeds to tell the young fellow the story of his hard life. If you had climbed as many mountains as I have and suffered as many setbacks as I have, you would understand," begins the old one. He then tells about the blue lake where he'd gone to fish. As luck would have it, the lake had dried up and only turtles remained. Along the rough and winding road are more signs of misfortune: a black cat, a dead skunk, a dangerous green snake. All of these plagued the old man. The old man had a big house on top of the hill. It was in very bad shape. The roof leaked. And before he could cut down the tree next to the house, there it is, it fell off the roof. It seemed that every day was Friday the 13th, so he hung it above the door. But the difficult times didn't end here. His dog, Old Yeller, a brown dog with yellow eyes, wasn't able to walk any longer. Let's see, where's Old Yeller? Oh, yeah. Maybe here. Wasn't able to walk any longer. Not accustomed to modernization, the dog got hit by a car on the new highway. And so all he could do now was lie under the tree. On top of that, the old man's wife died. Her grave is located in the front yard. In the back, there's a big black cauldron where you boiled clothes to show you there's no one around now, and the old man has to do his own laundry. You see where the road forks? There's a sign which reads Highway 2, but it doesn't say where. It shows you that the old man has been so overwhelmed by tragedy, he doesn't know which way to go. No wonder the young man is speechless. He looks on in amazement, floored by the story. He's knocked off his feet. That's why he's sitting there looking like a clown. Looking like a little clown, sorry, unquote. And I thought, aside from the fact that, this storyteller is so amazing, it's like, you don't know what people go through. You don't know. You don't know what they go through. You don't know, this young kid's like, you haven't made anything of yourself. Like, look at you, look at your house, look at your whatever. Especially when it comes to, anxiety, depression, I don't know. It's like people can't make it to the plan that you had and it's frustrating or whatever. But, I don't know. Sometimes you just don't know what people are going through. So some grace, I love it when I get it. And so I try to give it, when I can. So mental health awareness, you just don't know. And I think Walk a Mile in My Shoes by Yvonne Wells, made in 1987, is a good reminder, right, of that. Because you can't see it most of the time. You can't see anxiety and depression, schizophrenia. Sometimes these things manifest and you can see them, but sometimes they don't. You can't see them. So, yeah, Yvonne Wells, man. Whew. Incredible. So that's our intro quote. I love it. And people are just people. Kitty Hannah, we all have a story. Exactly. Art that respects the source. Yes, Kenny. Yes. I want to go next to, this is actually Yvonne Wells' quilt as well there in the background. So here we're gonna follow this train. We're gonna follow this train a little bit. And look at Amy Ahlstrom. Is that what we're going to do next? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at Amy Ahlstrom. So what we're going to do to look at her work, I found a really great radio interview with her, okay? So let me do this, actually. Yeah. So Amy Ahlstrom did a radio interview in 2021 with KALW with Janae Darden. And this was the article on KALW. What is KALW? Where? Oh, Bay Area. Okay, Bay Area. So Amy Ahlstrom, the article that goes with the post where they have the recording of the interview, which is very good. It's very good. I've screened it. I listened to almost all of it, and I was like, you know what? It's great. It's really great. The title is Amy Ahlstrom Addresses Mental Health and Social Issues Through Quilting, published August 19th, 2021. So what I did is I went and got a ton of images from Amy's show called All or Nothing, which is what she's talking about in this interview on KALW in 2021. So we're going to listen to the interview. The interviewer is great. And I'm going to show you images of her work. And I don't know. I mean, it's not terribly long. It's about 9 minutes. And I was like, well, maybe we won't listen to it all. I'm just always trying to keep things popping for you all. Move things along, keep the show popping. So I'm conscious of length and things like that. You wouldn't know it with a 2-hour show, but it's very calibrated. But this is so good. The interview's so great. Whoop. So we are going to, let's listen to it. Let's do it together. And yeah, let me make sure I've got that. Is that good? Yeah. Okay, great. Let's do this. Space Invaders, totally Mother Nature. Here we go. Amy Ahlstrom.
Social media to sometimes only talk about things that are positive
and
things that are happy over the years.
Hey.
They're not just the traditional
Get back here. What are you
style.
doing?
You're listening to Cross Currents from KLW News. I'm Hannah Baba. Quilting has evolved over the years. They're not just the traditional patchwork style anymore. Quilters today are still sticking with sewing machines, but also using technology to enhance their pieces with vivid images and colors. Amy Ahlstrom is a modern art quilter. Her work has been on display at Google, the DeYoung Museum, and many other places around the Bay. Amy's quilts are bright, they're edgy, and they feature in-your-face messages about social issues like drug addiction and gender rights. Now, in her show, All or Nothing, she's addressing mental health. The quilts represent her experience living with anxiety and depression, and also empathize with people struggling with mental health issues. KALW's Janae Darden spoke with Amy Ahlstrom.
Okay, so Amy, when I was 5, I was playing with dolls and transformers, and you were sewing at 5.
Yeah, I started sewing because my mom sewed, and I have 2 sisters, and I was the only one who was really into sewing, which she was pretty excited about. And my grandmother used to quilt, so it was kind of all around me. It was natural that I kind of picked it up.
Oh, so what did you start sewing at 5?
Mostly just learning a running stitch, like really basic stitches, hand sewing. I know when I was 10, I started working on my mom's sewing machine. But before then, I worked on this old pedal singer, like an old antique machine, just to kind of I think she wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing before she let me touch her sewing machine.
And you sewed your own clothes when you were a teenager? That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was fun because, you know, you're really tied to trends when you're a teenager. And I was a total misfit punk rocker. And so I could just kind of make my own clothes. And I remember I walked into school one day and this guy said, well, look at you. You've got your mama's pants and your daddy's sweater, because it was just like huge oversized clothing, which was not the thing when I was growing up in the 80s. So,
and you're like, and don't hate.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I want to wear. So if I can sew it, I can wear it.
Your work is very unique. When the first time I saw it, I was just really just like blown away. And I know you said you're a modern quilter. So I'll just say this: the quilts you make, they're not like the granny quilts. No disrespect to the granny quilts, because I love the granny quilts.
No disrespect, absolutely.
Yeah, because those are beautiful.
Yes.
Your quilts they're edgy, and just the artwork you weave into it. So how has quilting evolved?
You know, it's been happening over the years. There have been certainly art quilts for a long time, since the 70s and 80s. And then you have someone like Faith Ringgold, who's been working in the field for a very long time, who does illustrated quilts with text. But I really feel like in the last 20 years, things have really changed. For one, there's just a lot more people doing art quilting, things that are more graphic, that are different from the patchwork kind of color filled work, which is really common to art quilting. And then, you know, in the past couple of years, you had Bisa Butler really changing the game with her beautiful portraits. So,
by the way, I just wanted to say I loved how she said, you know, when she's making a distinction between different genres of quilts, she said color field work. Like they're sort of different from like the color field work. I think that was very interesting. I don't know if I'll I gotta think about that more, but I liked that. How she said, you know, like sort of, she was saying, I'm paraphrasing, but the traditional quilts were sort of more color field work. It was interesting. Okay.
You're listening to Cross Currents from clothing,
Don't do that.
which was not the thing when I was growing up in the 80s. So things have really changed. For one, there's just a lot more people doing art quilting, things that are more graphic, that are different from the patchwork kind of color filled work, which is really common to art quilting. And then,
in the past couple of years, you had Bisa Butler really changing the game with her beautiful portraits. So I just feel like it's really kind of sped up in the last 20 years with people not only being more comfortable with it as an art medium, but also, frankly, the galleries and museums being more comfortable with it as an art medium. But, so it's been used as an art medium for a long time, but I feel like we've really seen a lot more of it. People are really realizing that, these are art pieces.
Right.
And they belong in museums.
What's the process in making these quilts? Like, do you print some of the images onto cloth, or like, how does that work?
So because I have a background as a graphic designer, Photoshop is really comfortable for me. And when I first started working on the original series of the collage quilts, I was working with silk, which I still work with. Silk is very expensive to buy by the yard, and I couldn't afford to buy bolts of fabric. So I designed it all in Photoshop at full scale because you have the ability to measure. And I thought, okay, I can get a sense of exactly what I need and just buy that for the quilt. And all of my work is hand cut. So it's applique. It's all cut out by hand and then fused onto the background. And then that kind of holds it down so that I can quilt over it. So I think now some folks use Photoshop, but it was something that I used at the time because I thought it was, not only a way I could save money, but also get a sense to visualize the whole quilt, get the scale right. And that's how I design now. For this whole new show, I had everything designed in the first couple of weeks. So I get it all figured out, and then I can go ahead and basically just create it.
Your show, All or Nothing, what does that title mean?
So All or Nothing is what is known as a cognitive distortion. It's very common to people who have anxiety and depression, where you tend to think of things in extremes. So you're not good at giving yourself any grace and understanding that there are gray areas and that there are in-betweens. It's pretty much like, oh, I'm a huge success or I'm a massive failure. Like you just see, it's either all or nothing. It's also known as black or white thinking. So very stark and very much about, I'm either completely doing great or I am an awful, terrible person. And that's something that I think is so common to people who have those struggles that it resonated with me, and I thought it would resonate with other people as well.
Yeah, I have those struggles too. I'm open about living with depression and anxiety, and that's very true. That is true.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But, I think that the more, again, that we talk about it, the better it's going to be for everybody. And I got such good feedback from people I know who have the same issues as we do. And I think they really felt seen, and that was my goal. So that made me feel very proud that I was able to represent that in some way and get that out into the public.
Why did you want to tackle mental health? I mean, you could have, there's so many issues. There's so many issues going on right now. And again, I've looked at your work, and you've addressed feminism, you've addressed politics and elections in your work, racism, all kind of stuff. So why mental health, and why now?
Part of it was personal in that I mentioned that I tend to have episodes of depression, and I had a new one coming on like the fall of 2019, and I had a show coming up, and I thought, I really want to talk about this, that I'm not okay, and I want to let people know. And that felt like a huge risk artistically, because I think there's a pressure, both in the art world and also in social media, to sometimes only talk about things that are positive and things that are happy and things that, are all about kind of showing the world this positive representation of you. And that's a great thing. But we are human. We're really complex. And, we feel a lot of different feelings, and we have the right to feel all of our feelings. And so one of the first pieces I made was a piece called I Can't. And I took the I Can't and I cut it up and tried to re-sew it into I Can, with fragments of the T to just give people a sense, I'm trying. But, sometimes I can and sometimes I can. And then, of course, we went into 2020, and between all of the things that were going on, I had read that for some people, anxiety and depression went up 40%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. So all of a sudden there were people who had not experienced it previously, like we have, but were new to it. And I felt more positive that this was the right time to talk about it, because I had talked about it with friends and family, but it's not something I had talked about previously with my art. And I just felt like the timing was right.
Good, right? I mean, I liked that interview. I thought it was great. I thought it was great, and I wanted to share it with you. And yeah, so all of those smaller pieces are part of this larger installation. The details I was showing you are all part of this particular piece that was in her show in 2021. So yeah, I mean, I've talked before about on the show, you know, we don't look at contemporary quilters as much. We look at the past a little bit, look at some obscure things, like kind of poke around in the past. But yeah, I mean, she's so great. I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was a good thing to look at this month. So, by the way, she has a piece for sale. Cake, I gave you that link. I know I gave you a bunch of them. You got it? Okay. The drawing room. The drawing room is a gallery, I believe. It's a gallery, right? Anyway, this piece is for sale by Amy Alstrom. $3,600. So she's pricing her work what it's worth. Amazing. It's hard to price quilts. We talk about it a lot. Or it's hard to price art. Let's just put it that way. So, but yeah, this is for sale, and the link is in the chat if you're interested in her work and you want to purchase it. Morning has broken like the first morning. Pretty cool stuff. Christmas, I think you need this. I don't know, just saying. I think you need to do it. Get it. There's only one. Okay, yeah, there you go. And I saw some people come in. The Space Invaders wasn't brought up, Chris. I don't know. She didn't mention it specifically.
I think Mother Nature mentioned it.
Oh, Mother Nature did?
Yeah. There's the little Space Invaders, little guys.
Yeah, I recognize them too. That's a Atari, right? Was it an Atari game, or was early video 8-bit kind of game?
Right? I think it was Atari, definitely 8-bit. I always played it at the Pizza Hut though. So.
The Pizza Hut. There's Quilt Church and Pizza Church. I worked at Pizza Hut for 2 years, my senior year in high school. That's right. Let's see, was there? Yeah, we showed that. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's where that is, and I think I've got it. Yeah, I think I've got it there. So I saw Sherlock came in, and who else came in? Somebody else came in. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here. So here's a little. I'll play this little video, and then Cake. You want to do a cake break?
Sure.
I think we need to, because there's something I wanna say to you, Missy.
Okay.
Here, I want to do this. So first of all, this is just a little note. Thank you to the people who helped make this show possible. I wanted to say thank you because coming off this trip and all this like crazy just schedule craziness and like just trying to keep tabs on me in May was wild. I couldn't even do it myself. But thank you to, whoops, this is supposed to be single page. Thank you to these people. Yeah, oh yeah, I put it's like Bets and, you know, the panda and the little, you know, that they're cute, but they don't really do anything. Okay, let's be honest. It's these people. It's these people. It's the actual human beings who are really helpful. Robin helps with subscriptions. I don't even know all the things that she does. I don't even know all the questions that she answers. I can't even tell you, Robin. I don't even know what to say to you except to put a halo on your head and thank you for doing all the things you do. Because, you know, you have a life, you have a family, you have a million things going on. You have so many things going on, but somehow you still like send out links and also Robin tells me, Mary, you should take a night off. If you need it, please take it. She does that. I mean, let me tell you, don't tell my mom I said this. My mom doesn't do that for me. I mean, mom will be like, well, you gotta go do what you gotta do. Robin's like, Mary, we need you alive. Please do not push it too hard, Fons. You know, actually she calls me sweetie. Or, you know, it's just amazing. And she does so much. And thank you so much, Robin. Oh my God, I love you so much.
Robin has done a lot of heavy lifting for Quilt Nerd lately, and she's had her own stuff going on. So kudos to Robin.
Yes, Biscuit, otherwise known as the Great Biscuit. Susanna over in Q8, God bless you, Susanna. I feel like Susanna has ideas that, and just like structural, she just has her feet on the ground, man. And like, I talk to her and I'm like, yeah, like now we have a plan. Sometimes I implement those things. Sometimes I go out of town. And I don't even know my own name anymore. But Susanna, you know, Susanna's the first person who said, hey, you want some help? And she's here and she helps me. She helps in ways that you don't even know. And Susanna, I thank you so much for being here and just being you, man. You're amazing. And Stephanie Gig.
And because she's in Kuwait, she's coming to us from the future, and I don't know how she does it. It's crazy.
Exactly. She's in the future helping. See, all the things that happened with Quilt Nerd, they wouldn't even happen unless Susanna was in the future laying the path. She's laying the path. And then, of course, Stephanie Cake. Ugh. What would I do without you? When you were gone, when you were ill, unacceptably, it wasn't the same. It was not the same. It was not the same in many ways. And I just thank you so much for everything that you do. And you came to New York. It was amazing. So many people in this community help this show happen. Every subscriber. Jill, Alex, I mean, Cake, you're ride or die, girl. Ride or die.
Oh, shucks.
And there happens to be something that we need to say, all of us, to this person that we know as Stephanie Cake. Because I don't know if you knew, but Stephanie Cake submitted a study center proposal to the American Quilt Study Group seminar. Big conference. Big, very big, huge conference seminar in September. We were there last year, a couple of us, you know. And her study center on Dr. Dunton was accepted. And she will be presenting her research, people, at seminar in 2024 in, where is it? Louisville. Honey, you did it. You're on the schedule. It's so cool. You did it. You got in.
It's a big deal.
I'm
very excited. Yeah.
So, I mean, amazing. I mean, it's weird to say, like, I'm proud of you, but I know that everyone is proud of you. Like, we're all proud of you.
Padma just summed it up. Obsession pays off. It sure does.
That's right. It certainly does. And so, with that note, I'm going to run and use the ladies' room, and everyone can love on you and just be so happy for you. And we'll go to the cake break, and I even have... Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Look at my green screen. Okay, I made a new little thing, and I made him animated, but it's really creepy. I'm going to change it. He looks like, I don't know. It's not good. I made Dr. Dutton move around. It's a little weird. Anyway, but I want you to give us the Dutton report. But the main Dutton report is that you're presenting at AQSG seminar. And I'll talk more about that in the coming weeks, y'all, because you should go see Stephanie. But anyway, take it away, Steph. Talk to us about Dutton.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you guys on the cake break.
Oh, sorry. I'll be right back.
Yeah, guys, I think some of you, if I remember correctly, it might have been you, Kathy, Bird Nerd. You kind of found out before me, in that I think that AQSG, I think that some leadership made some comments to me, and I think that it was supposed to be letting me know that I was accepted, but I didn't actually get the paperwork and whatnot until just the other day, like confirming it. So, yeah, so I'm very excited. Like, I just, I just joking around, like, with my mom, when I was about 12 years old, I loved to research things. And I, going to school, I realized, like, I was so much of a dork. And that hit me one day. I was standing up there and, like, I never wanted to stand in front of class again. And so I really couldn't speak about any of my obsessions, like, even through college. So I finally am over that. And I am so excited to be able to stand up and talk for almost 2 hours at AQSG seminar about Dr. Dutton. I'm truly obsessed with this man, and my goal is to be like the preeminent world Dutton scholar. So you guys have helped me do that. In Dutton's pocket. Oh my gosh. I'll, you know what? In my presentation, I will put myself in Dutton's pocket just for you guys. It'll be our inside joke. Yeah, so I kind of have to at this point. So just 2 hours. Actually, you know what? It's only an hour and 45 minutes because I have to leave 15 minutes for Q&A. So I think I could do it though. I'm like, when I told my mom, she said, "Oh my gosh, you have to talk for almost 2 hours." And I'm like, yeah, I could talk for 2 hours about Dutton. Is not a problem. But with that said, like I've told you guys a lot of Dutton stuff. And I kind of have to hold back some stuff now because, this is a public forum and I kind of have to save some stuff for the presentation. But what I can tell you, because I've talked about this before, it's funny that Mary said, something about, doing research, you find out that there are things online that they're just wrong. And I think I had mentioned to you guys while I was doing some research about a woman that corresponded with Dr. Dutton. As it turns out, nothing about the correspondence told me who she was. She was just this pesky woman on the Upper East Side of New York. Turns out she's like this very well-educated woman but she came from Indiana, and she was married to this, like, I can't remember if he was an archaeologist or what. But anyway, long story short, she came from Indiana. She was well educated. She had degrees in like sociology and philology, and she'd written all this stuff about like medieval illuminations and all this crazy stuff. And her son became friends with Georgia O'Keeffe.
Whoa!
And according to the Library of Congress, this Georgia O'Keeffe timeline, and I haven't figured out yet if the timeline was constructed from Georgia O'Keeffe and Alfred Stieglitz's letters.
Whoa.
Because the Library of Congress has this like just mountain of letters, and a big chunk of them were between Georgia O'Keeffe and Alfred Stieglitz and this woman's son, who this woman, again, an affiliate of Dr. Dutton. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know, in this timeline, like, did they gather this from the letters, or did somebody, like, not do their research? I haven't figured that out yet. I'm pretty sure they've gathered this from Georgia O'Keeffe's stuff, though. And what Georgia O'Keeffe thought was that this woman was a social worker from Poland.
Really? Wow.
Like, nay. She was an overeducated woman from Indiana.
Wow.
And so I'm like, and I keep thinking, like, do I write the Library of Congress? But then I'm thinking, well, no, because this is probably not somebody's bad research. It's Georgia O'Keeffe just had the wrong impression.
Right.
And so I've started reading about this woman. Her name was Erla Rodashevitz, or Dr. Erla Rodashevitz, even though for whatever reason she was not signing her name doctor. And I got to tell you, 1940, whatever, if I was basically a housewife with 2 PhDs, you better damn well believe I would be putting that doctor before my name.
Oh, yeah. It's like, hello.
But
yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess women just were not like, just, I guess, not recognized that way, even though when they were very well educated.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's sort of some of these rabbit holes I've been falling down with this research, and I have these letters now. I've pulled out, I think, 5 or 6 of them, that where Georgia O'Keeffe and Alfred Stieglitz talk about this woman.
Wow.
And refer to her, as your mother, and it's crazy stuff. Like, your mother just showed up at my door today. She's a delight, and she really sounds so much like she was a character. And I'm thinking Dutton was probably ready to kill her by like the 10th letter she sent him.
Right.
And he met her at his trip to the folk art center, or the folk art center is what it was back then.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So to tie it all together to the folk art museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how he met this woman.
Amazing.
So, Yeah, and she will be a piece of the presentation. So for those of you that are able to go to seminar, I hope you will be able to see my presentation and learn all about Earl Rotashevitz. But for those of you that can't make it, I will at some point in the future spill some tea, some more tea on Earl Rotashevitz.
We love the tea. We love the
She was
historical
something
tea.
else. Yeah.
Well,
Dutton knew so many people, so many very interesting people.
And in case folks didn't know, or they're new to the show, Dr. Dutton is known as the father of modern occupational therapy. This mental health month, and Dutton, it's right there. It's just like there's, it's this article I was looking at, the mental health awareness month, that part. So it's just all.
That's a very famous, and I'll drop the link into the chat in a sec, but that the article that Mary's talking about is it's the Maryland Historical Society Museum. They have a really awesome museum here in Baltimore, and they did there's a lot of Dutton information here in Maryland, and it's that article is written by I think she's the librarian archivist at Shepherd Pratt, which is the sort of big preeminent mental health facility here in Baltimore, but that Dutton worked there for like 30 years. So yeah, he
very
is
cool. Very cool.
He's something else.
He was born 100 years too late. Too early. He should have been here now. He would have been an incredible doctor. What the things that he believed in were like definitely suit us now big time. Being able to do, make things, and that takes you away from whatever's, going on in your head. Yeah, exactly. And, pioneers, I think he was understood in his time, wasn't he? People, for the most part, they appreciated what he was doing. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody was like, Dutton, that kook.
Right.
But what I think is interesting, and this is kind of where I'm probably not going down this line of inquiry so much for seminar, but the thing that happened between Dutton and now was a little thing called Sigmund Freud. And Freudian psychology and the kind of therapy that came out of that, I think skipped over a lot of this common sense type stuff that Dutton was teaching.
Wow. Fascinating.
And occupational therapy is still they still study him. So, and actually my niece is thinking about going to grad school for occupational therapy.
Really?
And I'm so excited.
Yay. That's awesome.
I can tell you all about Dutton.
Good. That's great. To her. I hope she does it. That's great.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And I think there's one of our nerds, I think, is related to an occupational therapist. I think I got some butter. I can't remember if it's you or if it was someone else, but daughter or son-in-law or something who's an occupational therapist. So
yeah, that's great. Sorry, I saw Dee Marie talking about gin. You know what? I've been cutting back on the wine, and I was like, if there's gonna be a night when I have a little, what do I have? Cabernet, something like that. It's gonna be when I'm live on the internet, I guess. I don't know. Stephanie Cake, again, hats off to you, and I just cannot wait to be there. Cannot wait to be there. And starting tomorrow.
I'm disappointed that Marianne will not be there. She told me the other day that, you know what, Mary, stop telling people to do the things we tell you to do, which is take time off, because that means I don't get to see your mom at seminar.
I know, it's so true. Marianne will not be at AQSG, but Quilt Folk's going to be there, and a whole bunch of people are going to be there. And just today, on this afternoon, Robin, you don't know about this, Cake, you don't know about this, and they're all like, oh God, what? No, there's, how last year there was a coupon code for AQSG membership for Quilt Nerd? It was the first ever coupon code they ever did, and a bunch of you signed up. Well, that was in May last year. I had a meeting with Carrie Dell today at AQSG, and I was like, can we do the coupon code again? And she was like, yes, we can. And I was like, whoa, it's the end of May. Let's start on June 1st. So Quilt Nerd 15 will get you $15 off your membership. So it's for a year. So instead of $75 to AQSG, it's $60, which, that's pretty good. If you think about that, $60 for a year-long membership to a very cool organization that gives you all kinds of there's publication workshops, or you can learn how to publish, your research, and you get advanced tickets to seminar and stuff. You get, just like if you're a Modern Quilt Guild member, you get members get to sign up for stuff first before the general public. So that's really great. So starting June 1st, which is the day after tomorrow, Quilt Nerd 15 for 1 month. $15 off for Quilt Nerd people. You don't have to be a subscriber. Anybody can use it. You don't even have to be a Quilt Nerd to use it. If you're watching this later and it's after June 30th, 2023, it won't do you any good. But if you're watching it now, get $15 off. Join AQSG. It's amazing. And I'm working on a new member orientation thing that's going to tell you everything you're going to get. So anyway, so starting June 1st, Quilt Nerd 15, you can get money off. And then you should come to seminar and see Cake, and we'll just like go, yeah, good work, in the front row. It'll be great. Okay. So anyway, back to the show. Let's do this. Oh, Kenny, you gotta go. Kenny, you got to go. So, okay, here we go. This is the trailer. So this happens tomorrow. Quilt Nerd, you get all kinds of stuff you don't get anywhere else. I mean, where else do you get a coupon for the thing? And then this is the 30-second trailer. Yeah, 54-second trailer for Finishing School, the workshop I was working on filming with my mom in Iowa all month. This is gonna go on the social media and all over the land tomorrow. But I asked Mike if I could play it for you tonight ahead of the game, and he said yes. So here we go. Filmed by my brother-in-law, Jack Newell, and a great crew. Let's take a look at Finishing School, now on sale at quiltfolk.com. Mary Fons.
And I'm Marianne Fons.
That's my mom. We are on the set of Quilt Folk's latest workshop offering, Finishing School. Mom, what is Finishing School about?
Finishing School is a series of lessons where Mary and I show you how much fun it can be to adopt vintage quilt tops and loose blocks and turn them into beautiful quilts that people can love and enjoy.
We hope you'll join us in Finishing School. Go to quiltfolk.com and click on the workshop tab. Select Finishing School and you'll get all the information you need about how to join us in class. Yo, look at that dress. Isn't that nice? That's it.
I love it. You and your mom are so cute.
You know what? We have a good time. And, I mean, by the way, do you see this? That's the manicure. It's still there. These are the nails. These are the nails. Jacome Jellies is already signed up. That's so great. It's Myra registered the very second you saw the ad. Listen, I'm telling you, you're crying. And that dress, listen, Dee Dee, that dress, I look insane. By the way, let me just, we're among friends. This, look at this, that cowlick, I can do nothing about it. It will always be there. It's just going to be there. I can't do anything about it. I try to tame it. It does not tame, okay? But that dress, that is a nice dress. I got it on the real. It was real cheap from being real expensive one day. Acris Punto. Am I saying that right? Anyway, the point is that Mom and I had a blast. It's really good. And I don't know. I felt really pretty. And then I see the recording and I'm like, I don't know. I look weird. Anyway, it's a horrible thing to watch yourself on camera. Don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. Anyway, so that'll play tomorrow, but you saw it first. Okay, here we go. We got 2 more things to do. And this one is real short. This is a video of a piece of art. And Slim Quilt Pants, this is your moment. You and Max. I think you're seeing in this video, I'm talking to you while I filmed this thing. It's just a minute and a half. But this is a piece that's at the New England Quilt Museum. It's in the main lobby. When you enter the museum, there's this huge piece of art there. And I can't say that they own it yet. I don't know. They're in discussion with the artist, Dominique Ehrman, about this piece. Right now it is on display. That's as far as I know. And I'm not being cagey about anything. I don't know exactly the status is if the museum is going to purchase this or what. But if you're in the area and you can get to Lowell and the New England Quilt Museum, you just gotta go. It's such a great museum. And the people who run it and volunteer at it, like Jill, are just delightful. And so it's part of our quilt ecosystem, the New England Quilt Museum. We got to support our museums. And so this piece by Dominic Ehrman is called, hold on, it's called Time to Break Free. Okay? I'm going to read to you about it, and then we're going to look at it. Here's what Time to Break Free is about. Okay? This is from Dominique's website. Dominique has revealed her biggest creation to this day. The 14-foot long by 7-foot high by 28 inch large installation. Okay. Inspired by the steampunk art movement, has been exhibited in 2019 at in Massachusetts. Okay, Time to Break Free. Here's where it's going to be shown. Okay, Early on, Dominique has been fascinated by the steampunk artistic movement. English is not her first language, so some of the syntax is a little funky. Even before knowing the name of the trend, she just loved the style. After many months of research and working to improve her drawing skills, she was able to compose her story. Here is the storyboard in a few words for Time to Break Free, this piece we're about to look at closely. A unidimensional traditional quilt, that's what you're looking at, a unidimensional traditional quilt breaks her chains and enters the time machine that will transform it in a 3D form. There's the heroine, an adventurer, and her companions, the wise fox transporting the fabrics. Now, what I'm going to pause, I'm going to say, look at the screen. The heroine is in the center of the quilt, okay? The figure in the center, you'll see her again. The heroine and adventurer, okay. Her companions, the wise fox there on her right, transporting the fabrics. He's got fabric in his mouth, I think. The fascinating pronghorn transporting the sewing machine. Do you see? So that antelope-looking pronghorn has a sewing machine on his back. It's hard to see in this picture, even hard for me to see on my screen, but it's there. And the intelligent raven taking care of the threads, the raven down there at the bottom. Together, they form a tight and strong team. What is going to happen? The scene takes root in the textile artist's preferred universe, the forest. The movement comes from a combination of the machine and the heroine, who is pulling the traditional quilt to cause the change. You're going to see what I mean. On the quilt, all the characters are in the traditional form, but the machine and the 3D part of the installation are more in the form of a textile, metal, and wood sculpture. Okay, what is she talking about? Let's watch. I might even slow it down a tiny bit. Playback speed. I'm going to sound funny. I'll sound a little drunk probably because I'm going to play it at 3/4 speed to watch this. Okay, you ready? So, Time to Break Free by Dominique Ehrman, 2019. I mean, so did you look at it closely? Like everything that's happening? Do I sound really weird? Okay, I'm going to play it regular. If we can watch it twice. Did you guys see this thing? You just see how it worked? Okay, hang on. So I'm talking to Slim and Max. Okay. Like all of the figures in the quilt. So she's saying this is the chain to break free from two-dimensional quilts. So that's the chain. There's a broken chain to break free from two-dimensional quilts. Time to break free of that. Whatever, and then it goes through the big thing, and then did you see, okay, I should have gone slower. It goes through so the quilt goes into this machine. The regular traditional quilt is being sucked up into this machine thing, and then do you see now? Look, now you see the little glass thing. It's being chopped up. It's being like put through the grinder, like put through the blender. Not necessarily explaining this to you. You probably saw everything, but I didn't. Okay. And then, okay, look, and then there's the figure. Do you see the figure upside down? She's going through this machine. She's going through this machine. So she's been taken off the quilt. She's lifted off of the quilt. And like that figure is getting put through not necessarily the grinder, but through the machine. And all the pieces are coming through. Look, there's the fox. Podma, I see that. You're totally right. I mean, maybe. Yeah, the fox there and all the stuff. And look at all the threads, like in the machine behind the little fox being put through the machine. And, you know, there's threads and fiber and everything. Through and going through the whole thing. And then, can you turn the crank, Max, or somebody? Oh, yeah, Max turns the crank. It all turns. That's so wild. That's Max. He's turning the crank. It's interactive. And, I mean, the piecing and everything is really amazing. So then those are the borders. That's the border. That's the border. And the leaves of the tree and everything. And then it comes all the way over here, and then it explodes, and then it's her, like, come to life. Look at that! So, I mean, Max turns the great salad zone. Everybody. Max turns the crank. And you did a fine job. And do you see? I should have done a much slower thing with this, but then the girl from the quilt is now 3-dimensional. So that's the figure that we saw before, and the fox. The fox! Look, the fox is alive. Has come out too. I mean, it's oh man. And look, and then the antelope. The elk or the antelope or whatever that animal is. Oh yeah, and then the raven. Crow has the string or the thread. It's really amazing, right? It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Look at that thing. Wow, right? Cake, I mean, have you ever seen anything like that?
This is freaking awesome.
It's freaking awesome.
So it reminds me, like at first glance, it reminds me of one of those contraptions that was in either one of the Willy Wonka movies. Mm-hmm. You know, like the Gene Wilder one was like covered in sheets because it was obviously so low tech, but I feel like the one with Johnny Depp had some contraptions like this. And I love that whole like Rube Goldberg kind of like, and that the sucking things through the crate, you know, like it's like magic. It's, you know, it's supposed to be like magic. But yeah, this is so cool. And so this, I'm assuming a lot of this stuff is, I mean, I could see what some of this is. Like there's that like dryer hosing, that aluminum hosing, and I'm assuming some of these things are like wooden, like the gears are maybe wooden.
They were metal, weren't they?
Metal?
Slim,
okay.
And so I'm playing it slower. You see how good I am at streaming content now? See, I muted it so I don't sound like blah blah blah. But we can watch it slower. So yeah, it was. I don't know if that was wood, you guys. The quilt itself. I mean, it wasn't. Was it? Well, no, it was.
No, it seems like maybe it's on some type of wire backing or some type of support.
Yeah, it's a quilt.
I feel like that little piece at the bottom looks like it might have some type of wire or I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. I don't know if I talked a whole lot, if I've ever talked a whole lot about my education, but I do have a fine arts degree. I started in sculpture. And so I like stuff like this that combines textiles and sculpture is just like so good. I love it.
Well, I mean,
this is just so creative,
right? You know? Right, and like the steampunk aesthetic isn't one I'm drawn to, like just aesthetically, but this concept of putting a quilt through this Rube Goldberg kind of machine to make it 3-dimensional. Of course, quilts really are 3-dimensional, but I mean, come on, we all know what she means. But like to put it through this, Max turns a crank, Salad Zone turns a crank, and to put it to put it through that, and then to make the figures of the quilt sort of come to life in this sculptural way I've never seen anything like it. And to have like, look, that's the border, you know, of the quilt to be taken from these motifs, taken from the quilt and put through this machine. I mean, it's just cool. It's so creative and amazing. We need our artists. We need them. We need you.
And yes, I think that is a piece of a sewing machine, right? It's like the treadle part with the wheels. Like, I think that's what Max is turning, is the treadle wheel.
Oh, cool. Of course. So listen to this. So, okay. So this is her biography. Oh, he was so cute. All the animals were so cute. Like you just wanted to, nothing was scary, right? Like it was so approachable. Everything was so approachable. So this is her biography, Dominique, from her website, and I've got a couple other things here for you, a couple other images. Dominique says, "I create to tell stories." Let me grab something here. Hold on. I create to tell stories. Hold on now. Hold on. Dominique is a self-taught fiber artist. Oh, and I wanted to mention to you that she teaches workshops, and so if you are interested in having her at your guild or your arts council or whatever, just please go to her website, Dominique Ehrman. I know Cake's already put that stuff up there probably. She had a solo show at the Shelburne Museum in Vermont in 2016, by the way, which is a very big deal. And so she says Dominique is a self-taught fiber artist. Self-taught. Quilting is her medium to tell her stories. This is pretty cool. She knows the rules, patterns, and techniques. She uses them as a means to transport, express, touch, and reinvent. First, a story emerges, and then it starts building up, taking shape. Look at this. Taking shape and growing in 3 dimensions. She assembles it in her head, designs it to the last detail, and once ready, turns it into a sketch. Sketches become paper models, which then become patterns. With Stefan, her husband and accomplice, she pushes back all limits and frontiers. Her artwork plays with the wind, defies gravity, invites exploration and interaction. Dominique, it began in 2005. This is great. It began in 2005 with a simple question by Stefan, and he asked her, "Will you go camping and fishing with me for a month-long trip?" Dominique, who was an accomplished baker and chocolate maker, I knew I liked her, thought this over and considered what she would be doing while all this fishing was going on. She's so cute. She enjoyed casual sewing, so she agreed to go. Look at this. This is great. A sketch. Look, a sketch from that work. I love it. She wondered what she would be doing. She agreed to go only if Stefan made her a sewing machine she could use without electricity. Made her? If he made her a sewing machine? Okay, so that's these people. Okay, great. This way she would sew in the woods while he was off catching dinner. At this point in her life, she'd never been to art school, had never drawn or engaged in an art activity other than creative chocolate and cake endeavors. You know what?
Can Dominique be my best friend?
Yeah, and she likes cake, so it's done. Stefan rose to the occasion and invented a solar-powered sewing machine for Dominique, and a propane heater for her iron. What? Are you kidding me? Amazing! Wow! Look at this sketch. This is so cool. Look at super quiltus. Oh, quiltus. That's a new word for us, a quiltus. I love it. Super quiltus. Look at that. God, she's such a little badass. I don't know if...
So that's like a quilt maker. That's like French for...
Yeah.
Quilter,
Quiltus.
right? I mean, it's like, is it like masseuse? Like
and chanteuse, right?
Chanteuse, yeah.
Sherlock, can we say chanteuse? Dang overachievers. Christmas, exactly. I said overachievers. I'm an overachiever. Being an overachiever, I eat a lot of cheese. Anyway, the point is that, yes, many overachievers on this show in general. Everybody who appears on this show is like incredible, these artists. So Stefan rose to the occasion and invented for his wife a solar-powered sewing machine and a propane heater for her iron. And with that, she set off on a completely unexpected path as a self-taught quilt maker in the wild, novice, to later become a sophisticated fabric sculptor and fiber engineer. Girl. Whoa. Sorry. I had a little sound issue tonight. So that's Dominique Ehrman. And she's just marvelous. And so if you want to, get in touch with her, go to her website. She has a Facebook group as well. I didn't look online to see if there are videos of her on YouTube. If my video was better, I could let her know and I could put it on YouTube. But I think I went too fast. I get nervous. Anyway, oh yeah, and she was involved. Cake just put that very cool link up. She was involved in a very interesting. Oh yeah, this actually. Hold on. A very interesting project, which, to be honest with you, the video is like so short. We gotta watch it. Hold on. It's called Mathemy. Hold on. Well, okay. No, you just got to go look. You got to go look. The hour is growing late. Not really, but we have something to watch, and it'll take the rest of the time. And what it is that we're gonna watch is this focus group. You're gonna meet Jill Alexander, my mom. You guys know some of these people already. Ivy Kadivy, who shows one of her inventions, by the way, in this focus group. Saucy Stitcher. You better still be out there watching. Slim Quilt Pants and Max. And also you're going to meet Pam and Jill. It's Laura, right? Laura at the museum. She's there as well. So here we go. I mean, this is pretty cool. We were at the New England Quilt Museum. There's more content to bring you from that trip. But for now, at the end of the visit, before we parted ways, I got to spend time with these people. These are your quilt nerds, okay? These are your people. This is the community. I love these people. I love you. And let's hear what you have to say about quilt history and Quilt Nerd. You know, thank goodness nobody was like, I need to talk to you about something serious. Your show is a problem. Nobody did that. That's good. By the way, here we have, well, you're going to meet him. I don't need to say anything. Let's do this. Let's wait for Chicago to be done. Hang on. Okay, we're back. You ready? This is great. Okay. I haven't seen it since I filmed it. Okay, here we go. Okay, hey everybody, we're in the library at the New England Quilt Museum. Everybody's here. We didn't lose anybody, so everyone who we saw before is here, but this might run independently or be an independent thing. So I'm going to ask you a question and identify yourself, and then...
I'm Jill Quilt Nerd. I volunteer here in the library. It is independent of the museum, as the museum doesn't financially support this. It's all supported by volunteers. There's no paid staff. Even the person that runs it, Martha, for many, many, many years. And it's mostly supported. We sell yard sale books and things in here that people donate, that we don't take into the collection, and by really generous donations that people that use the library.
There's a little gimbal problem from time to time with me. I do pretty well, but just, yeah, sorry. Oh, look, it's Ivy Kadivy. Huh, yeah. And there's Laura, who works at the Quilt Museum. Anyway.
Offer because we are a lending library. If you're a member of the museum, we mail books out to people. It's one of the few libraries that will lend. So please join.
That's great.
So that we can lend you books.
That's good. I will join today because I would like, we gotta use that book. Okay.
This whole wall is like history.
Yeah.
The whole wall. So this is what everyone has to aspire to their personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Lending.
Yeah. So Jill, we got some quilt nerds here today, and I thought, how's this sound? I could turn the mic up a little bit. It's okay. Is it okay? I turned the Yeti up, the microphone just up a little bit. I think you let me know. Cake, you let me know if anybody's having trouble. And that's Pam Weeks in the back. She is the executive director of the Quilt Museum. Would take the opportunity to talk to some of you, you know, in terms of quilt history. Like, I mean, if you're into Quilt Nerd, you don't have to be into quilt history because we talk a lot about contemporary things and so forth. But like, what's your jam in the quilt history thing? Like, what do you love? Like, Molly's into chintz. To her great surprise, she's like into it.
Did my face just turn beet red? 'Cause like, you just asked me to like pick a favorite child. Yeah. Like,
but like, where's the energy for you? Like, where do you?
it's like the most cliche thing ever. I am totally that person that's like, who touched this?
Sure.
Where has this lived? What did this person go through to make it? Or if it traveled, what did it experience as it traveled? Because I used to be really into antique books too, and I did a lot of academic work with antique books. And it's that same kind of feeling of, especially when people write in books. So when you see certain inscriptions on quilts, I actually am sitting there picturing it happening as like a movie, and I get to now be the voyeur in the background watching it all unfold. Is that cheesy? It's not.
I loved hearing this stuff. It was so interesting. And by the way, you know who else loved hearing it? Pam Weeks, executive director of the New England Quilt Museum. This lady, I love her so much. She's a hero. She really is. I admire her so very, very much. She was taking notes. She started taking notes. She's like, you know what? This is a group to listen to.
It's
really cool.
The story. Yeah. Like that's what it is for me. So I can almost love anything.
Yes. Sherlock, yes.
Because for me, it's more about age with my personal jam. Obviously, I love all of it. The contemporary and not the thread painted and the hand quilted, like it's all amazing. But for history, yeah, I'm really about the unknown stories.
Sure, like the journey, like the path of the thing. The Henry Glassy book about material culture, like he talks about a Turkish rug and like the journey that this particular Turkish rug like went, through before, where it was made and the dye and everything, and then to where it's being sold in the market. It's really interesting. Cool, yeah. So I'm gonna go around the table first. Hey, it's my mom. Kind of in my sights. I might talk to you, but thank you, Jill. So, Mom, when you think about my mom's super cute. You gotta admit, she's a cute lady.
She really is.
You know?
She really is. And the funny thing is, I mean, I have known of her for so long, but getting to spend a little time with her in New York was really great.
It was fun, right?
It was the first time I've actually met her in person because I've never taken a class from her.
Really? Yeah, I didn't even realize
my mom
that.
did.
You guys were just, you were peas and carrots. I didn't even know. I mean, I didn't even think about that.
We were just chitting and chatting.
Oh,
real quick. Yeah. Jill asked me to correct one thing.
Yes.
Is that Pam is not the director, she's a curator.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yes, I said executive director. I had Carrie on my brain. Yes, exactly. Curator. Thank you very much. The Binny curator. Thank you, Jill. Okay, hottie. Let's go. Quilt history, or just, and when I ask about the energy, where's the energy for you? I think I've talked to you about, like, I was in a workshop one time, a writer's workshop, and my professor said something so great. Rather than asking the people to comment on their favorite part or, favorite part of the writing we just read, or she said, where's the energy in the work? And like everybody knew what she meant. It was sort of a strange question, but she was like, where's the energy in the work? And so in the quilt history world, or quilt culture too, like where's the energy for you? For you personally, where do you go?
I've thought about this because, when I've gone to...
Sorry, Mom. Pastrami Tacos is in the chat. Oh, I missed you. Okay.
The AQSG, and when people are looking at old quilts, a lot of people really like the signatures and the genealogy, these album locks, and I just find them so boring. Because I care about people's lives and history, but what my jam is design.
Sure.
And so, when I'm looking at, and also having been in a professional field, things that are older, it's in the public domain in terms of design. So I'm looking for inspiration for my own quilt making.
Okay,
and that's kind of blatantly, sounds kind of commercial in a way, but
great.
I do love stories.
And that's not
I do love, but to me, the signature quilts, they're all alike in a way.
Sure.
And so I like the quilts that are different.
And someone who's into signature quilts would say, like, that's crazy. They're so different.
I admire that work. I think it's great, but it just doesn't fire me up like, like a...
want to brawl.
like the Delectable Mountains, we're in there.
Pam Weeks said, "You want to brawl?" I loved it.
Oh God, I made one once upon a time. It's like, I think I want to make a Delectable Mountains.
Oh, that's great.
So that's the inspiration. Is what can I make that I can use this 19th century, early 20th century design as my jumping off place, and how can I use modern techniques and my fabrics and stuff. Although now I'm not making quilts from scratch. I'm making quilts from abandoned projects. Yeah. I'm just not so interested in finished quilts anymore. I'm interested in the unfinished.
Yawn. Yeah. But your favorite era in terms of like the quilts that you love, would you say like 1890?
I'd say the last quarter of the night. 1850 to even into the 30s. I like a lot of that stuff. I mean, there's just something neat to find in all of it. And I do appreciate what Jill said, because I've been taking apart problematic tops and you know, like when I taught hand patchwork, I would tell my students, you know, every time you fill the needle, go back and make a back stitch, it'll be stronger. Then you start taking apart quilts like, honey, that knot you made back in, you know, 1895, it's still holding very well, and you can't take it apart because of the back stitch, so
It's true.
it worked.
It's true. It did work.
Quilt it. The unquiltable top is really interesting to make it quiltable. Anyway, okay, great, Mom. Excellent. Okay, Ivy Kadivy, what about you? Where's the energy?
Okay, this is Ivy Kadivy, and y'all are in for a treat because I'm doing a little. I'm not spoiling, but what she has in her arms, she's going to reveal, and it is pretty awesome, and the story behind it is pretty amazing. And I just wanted to say, this conversation I like even more the second time. Who has conversations like this? They need to happen all the time. Anyway, people are interesting. Let's go.
Energy and quilt culture, or Ivy Kadivy?
Yeah, the energy in history.
Yeah, for you.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, and everyone I see, I look at what was my Aunt Stella thinking? What was that quilt that my Aunt Ruby had? How many of those quilts on that bed that I visited my grandparents, how many of those quilts did they make, or were their, you know, parents or grandparents? So something in it, in the history part of it, just makes me want to know what happened in my personal history, my family. Where did my family fit in? It's like, I want to go and see my cousin Kimmy out in Kansas and ask her, like, well, you know, which quilts do you have, and which ones can I see? I want to make a movie of my quilt family's quilts.
Yeah, quilts I haven't figured out the right analogy. You know, they're not a pathway, doesn't make sense. They're not a window because you can't see through them. Like, I'm trying to find the right analogy, right? It's like quilts are a window. No, they're not. But like, you can go anywhere in time, you know, where quilts were made and learn about it. Like, you know, how much did I know about?
Follow the thread.
Follow the thread, yeah, totally. But like, how, you know, to learn about any time in history, like, you know, find a quilt from 1938 and suddenly you have a reason to look at 1938, like what was happening at that time, right? Say it again.
Breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs, yeah.
So you're lucky you have family quilts then.
Well, we've had a lot of fires in our family, so I don't.
A lot of fires in the family.
And I have quilts that are ones that my great aunt made, and they're just quilts that you use. They're covers.
Yeah.
That's what you meant for them to be.
Yes, and she made them all the time. It's like, oh, how do you like this one? And we pick the colors that we want. I would go to her house and choose the ones that we liked, and that's how we got quilts.
Sherlock,
I never
yes.
thought of them as, you know, things that go in museums.
Right, yeah,
Well,
document.
you're lucky you come from quilters.
Totally. Can you tell us about, I told everybody you're a toy designer because it's just like having a friend who's a toy designer. It's so awesome. Can you tell us about what you brought?
Ivy
This is my
is a toy
baby.
designer.
Okay, well, I'm a toy designer, and toy designer means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And toy designers, there are a million different kinds of toy designers. And I've worked on the inside, like, you know, the ideal kind of toy company, Hasbro, those kind of guys. And then I've worked on the outside, which is more like work for hire. And then there's another part, which is you can be an inventor, which is you just come up with an idea and you try to find a home for it, market the product. So I came up with this idea.
Did everybody get that? Ivy is so lovely and a bit soft-spoken, so you can hear it, right? I just want to make sure. Okay, cool. Okay.
For you weren't a dolly first. For this is my little baby, and she found a home with a company, and they named her Flipsy Girls. But the concept is she's a baby.
Yeah.
We love babies. Everyone loves baby dolls, and they cry a lot. Sometimes they cry too much. And then you get kind of a little bit frustrated. And then, oh.
Oh, wait.
Yay!
Hold on.
It's so cool.
Isn't that great? Tea party.
Hold on. She did the reveal. We got to do it again. The video. Okay, watch.
And then you get kind of a little bit frustrated. And then, oh.
Yay!
Look at
it's
that.
So cool.
Isn't that great? Tea party.
That's really cute. And you were telling me too that, like, you know, kids get bored with, you know, something, so then their baby grows up and it's this kid.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So
That was amazing.
Yeah.
So she is transformable. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
She just tucks her hair in.
Look at that.
The eye, I didn't notice before the eyes of the baby or the cheeks of the big girl.
Look at that. Look at this.
So the concept came alive one day when I was looking at a face and there were these little freckles.
You
and
see?
I was like, oh, those look like eyes if you cover your eyes. So it's like, oh, look, they're baby eyes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
cute little baby. And then the transforming. Oh, you reveal the big girl eyes.
That's cool.
And the hairdo. It's like, you know, all these little components added up to make it a really nice.
Well, the freckles are so much of her personality. You know, without the freckles, she wouldn't be. I mean, she's fun, but it's really.
So it got picked up. I mean, you pitched it and it's made.
Yes,
Cool.
this is an older item, but it was a very successful product. It was about $20 million worth
Of sales.
$20 million worth of sales.
You didn't get all of that though, right?
Oh, no.
not even like such a small piece.
Right.
That's
Wow.
really
Is she
cool.
washable?
She is washable.
She's
Because I could see playing with it a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Well, here.
Cool.
I mean,
cool.
Ivy made that. She invented that. And it's so cool because we've seen your quilts, Ivy, and now we know.
Well done.
And Ivy gave that to me, and I left a case, like a makeup case, my doll, and a dress at Hannah's apartment in New York. So it'll be here. I'll bring the dolls on the show.
So, Kirsten, how about you? Where is the energy
It's
for
Saucy
you
Stitcher. It's Saucy Stitcher. Okay.
when you think about what you're interested in
It's
and all?
Saucy Stitcher. I never met her. She's amazing. Saucy, by the way, did things go well? You know what I mean.
This.
I guess, well, unlike Ivy, I come from a family that doesn't quilt at all. Most of them can't even thread a needle. And I just one day decided I wanted to make a quilt.
Nice.
So I bought a book, and then, you know, just finding out that quilts aren't just blankets, that they do have histories, and just peeling back the layers, that it goes back. Someone made it, and when they were making it, they weren't thinking anything. They were just making a quilt to go on the bed. They didn't know that they were contributing to this, any country's history, and people could trace it back, and it meant something.
I see you in the chat.
I just heard somebody say quilts are art that's made in the home. You know?
I like that.
I like it too. It's so simple and it's so true, right in front of our face, like all the time. But it's art.
Your cat, your eyeliner is just on fleek. Does anybody say that anymore? I don't know how to do that. It looks really good.
That's made in the home. Simple as that.
So that's why when I make a quilt, I make sure I date it and do the origin. You never know, someday it might end up in an antique shop.
It's true. It's true.
Jill's great-great-great-great-granddaughter might find it.
Exactly. That's great.
And they can know.
Yeah, a little bit. Cool. Right on. And slim quilt pants, my dear.
What?
about
It's
you?
Slim Quilt Pants. It's Slim Quilt Pants, everybody. Ah! So this is for Saucy and... That's clapping off the stage, Saucy, and clapping on the stage, Slim. Slim. Let's do this.
I'm really interested in the how it's made. I love when we have a quilt on the screen on the Quilt Nerd, and we're like, okay, where's the block?
Yeah.
Who knows where the block is?
Yeah, I'll do more of that. People do like that a lot. Yeah. Construction. And you're a new quilt maker, right?
Yeah, I just started really last year. This is about a year of quilting. Because I've been sewing since I was little, but I've only known my grandma's quilts, which are square, corners matched, and I can't do that. So when I learned that you could applicate things, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're gonna make a quilt.
Awesome.
Didn't you have one in the last Nerds on Parade? Which
Yeah.
one? Can you just remind us which one it was?
The last one was for Max and I, and it had like animals and plants and stuff.
Okay.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Did you go to art school?
I did.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Cool.
And you said you've sewn since you were little. Was that by hand or by machine?
Mostly machine.
Machine. So there's a machine in your home. Always a machine in your home or in your bedroom or whatever. Just,
Look at these people.
Max, how about you? Like, however you would answer this question.
I personally don't quilt.
Yeah.
Yet.
But my first love in the fabric arts was probably embroidery. So actually, I really enjoyed looking at some of the potholder quilts because my last
Which you will see. You're going to see the potholder exhibit as soon as I run it past. I got to have Pam Week screen it. Okay.
embroidery project, and I think the one that I'm probably most proud of because it took so long was a potholder. So I just could not imagine making 35 more to put into it.
So it's heavily embroidered, the potholder?
Yes. I think
Has
too
it
much.
ever been used to take something out of an oven?
I insisted that it should be practical.
Okay.
But I don't think it's always hanging in the same place. In my,
Oh, it was a
yeah.
gift.
It was a gift. Yeah, it was a gift.
Okay.
Oh, you get, oh, okay,
Got it.
so,
Yeah.
so you're not in control of it anymore.
No, released it.
How did you two meet? Did you meet in school?
We met online on Tinder.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
My best friend got married to her Tinder guy. Yeah. Right on. Cool. I'm so glad that
is
you're
Max?
here. That's good.
Yeah.
Very good. Cool.
Slim could answer.
And I guess let me see. What would you like to see more of on Quilt Nerd before we pick? So, because this is a focus group too. I just decided.
But this is good. This is good stuff.
Like, find the blog, like design stuff. That's great.
Oh my goodness. Well, we had started the idea of nerds being able to pitch kind of their idea of what they would like to see. What did you call it again? Content director?
Content director, yeah.
I know that's hard to do because there's just a lot involved in that. But I'm wondering if
gotta get back to
potentially,
that.
since so many people are interested in things and doing some of their own research, what if they came to you and pitched their actual research?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Mary, I've done the work.
Yeah.
Get it up on the camera for me.
Great.
As more of a collaborative thing, which also can potentially take some time off of your plate.
Sure. You'd think so, but
Well, and what happens at
It doesn't.
AQSG, when people come to AQSG and they mention what they're researching,
yeah.
10 people, right,
Totally.
Pam? It's like, oh, I've seen a quilt like that. Oh,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so it helps further the research.
Yeah.
Because I kind of jumped in here because it's a collective brain pool kind of thing.
No, and that's why everyone should go. A number of people comment about, I want to present at AQSG. I'm not a scholar. I'm a nobody. I don't know anything. And it's like, no,
There's
you
lots of
need
stuff,
to
right.
because you're going to make the connections
Yeah.
that's going to further your
And you
research.
can get a mentor to help you, guide you.
Pam, there was something you said though, and my ears pricked up because it makes sense too. You said something about not sharing your research, which I know. But say more about that because I was thinking about that. So what do you mean and when? What does that
My
mean?
understanding of academic research
Yeah.
was that you kept it to yourself until your experiments were finished, or
Right.
your research was finished, or you find everything that you wanted to write about, and then you wrote about it in a tunnel
Okay.
or in a silo.
Yeah.
But with the potholder quilts, because they're so rare, I
Mm.
knew that I would never find as many as I did unless I stood up at the AQSG show and tell
Right.
with the potholder quilt and said, "Hi, I'm potholder Pam."
I need
And
these.
when the laughter abated, I was able to explain what my research project was and how you could help me. And the examples they didn't flood in, but I got a good half to maybe just a third of my examples because of people helping me.
Is there a message board for AQSG? I'm looking for the Bertha Mextrot stuff. Be great to let people know before
I think
October.
I would put something in blanket statement.
In the blanket statements, yeah.
Or
Okay.
maybe the I don't know how much it gets used, but I don't look at it very much, but the AQSG Facebook page might be a
True.
place to do it.
Yeah.
For those
And if
that
I
are
wrote up a little
listserv,
something,
too.
there's the listserv.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, if I wrote a little something and pitched it, then maybe that would be.
And
for
they
blanket statements.
have poster sessions at
Yes,
seminar as
yes,
well.
totally.
So you can present preliminary
Yep.
work and maybe make connections with people who.
And maybe
Yeah,
and maybe the difference in what Pam's talking about typical academic research.
Yeah.
It's like people's professorships and tenure are writing on these kind of things, and whether their grants renewed and everything, whereas is in quilt research, I mean, it's serious research, but it's more for enjoyment.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I would think it's far more.
I don't even know if it's enjoyment, I would say, but like, yeah, like in academic research, you're trying to like make a thing to not to sell, but I mean, you want your name on a thing, or you want to, you know, I mean, it's completely different. Like, I think in this environment, like, the more people you talk to about stuff, like, the better it is, which is a pretty cool vibe. Like, yeah, let's keep going.
More collaborative.
There's about 6 minutes left.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome
I
that
would
like
say you're 100% right when it comes to hard science.
Right.
When you're
sure.
But
That
so
makes
much hinges on the collaborativeness. I feel.
In quilting,
and that's
in
kind
general.
of
So
yeah.
I mean, it's
Sorry,
been
it's kind of
collaborative
badass,
around
right?
the
That we're
quilt
just like
frame.
no, let's all get together.
The other thing to remember about the American Quilt Study Group is that it was founded for people without academic master's degrees who are interested in becoming writers or reporting on their research or whatever in a welcoming and warm environment.
Totally. That's
and most of the people who are members of AQSG are not in the quilt industry like we are.
Right.
They're they have other jobs, and this is just a passion.
Yeah, retired Air Force captain.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Retired toilet paper salesperson.
Nice.
Corporate level.
Yeah, I think that's something AQSG needs to get back to in terms of the public image. Is like Sally Garrett was like power to the people. That way, power to the women, power to the people. You know, you don't have to be in this ivory tower of academia, and that's really a problem.
And then they put the resources there to help you get to that level.
Exactly. Amazing.
I would argue there's actually probably even more resources because humanities and this could also fit in like an anthropology department, I guess. But the funding for that's why I don't work in academia, is because the funding for humanities level things is just dwindling, where AQSG, you don't have those constraints. Yeah. You could get outside funding. Marianne could be like, I'm going to help fund your whatever. Just, you don't have to go through all that red tape.
It's not rigid. It's not
rigid. You don't need all that.
Oh cool. My God, yes, Cake.
Ivy, what about you, Pam? Want to see some more stuff on Quilt Nerd or different stuff? Or
I really love it when you show me stuff I am so surprised to see.
Okay.
I have no idea that, what's going on with this painter or that quilter or history or whatever time it is, whether it's the first quilts or some applique thing, or it's just amazing. You've shocked me so many times. Like, okay, I'm gonna hold on to my chair.
Quilts are so shocking.
Yeah, some art exhibit or something. Like, remember the patchwork like balloon exhibit? Like they sewed a big patchwork balloon out of plastic bags and lifted off. I mean, it was amazing. In Brazil or something. Yeah, so cool. Okay, good to know. Some surprises. I like that. Okay, how about you, Kristen?
Kind of stuff I can't think of too much right now, but just from talking today with Pam, finding out about like a different kind of quilt. I never heard of a pot holder quilt.
Yeah, right.
Different types of things. I mean, I know a yo-yo quilt, but just different styles that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, I've never talked about yo-yo quilts really, which is crazy, but yeah.
You could do the weirdest quilt ever made topic.
We're all about weird on quilt.
Yeah, our tagline is keep quilts weird. But what is the weirdest quilt the weirdest quilt ever made? Or did you say weirdest quilts?
Quilts. I'm trying to think of the weirdest thing I ever saw was the first pot holder quilt.
Yeah, right.
Because I'd never imagined doing it block by block.
Yeah.
There have been some weird ones that have come through.
I think the graveyard quilt is pretty weird.
That one's weird.
That's pretty weird. Yeah.
And we had an artist here. We represented the work of. We put up an exhibit of Jennifer Regan's
Get it right here
quilts.
down here.
She
Who's
made.
that person you were talking
I'm
about
going to
this
show you some
morning?
pictures later. She was highly educated, brilliant writer, and when she divorced her husband, she just turned into this bubbling mass of anger.
Oh wow!
And she put it into her quilts. And
Jennifer Regan.
She has like 16 versions of the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden.
Whoa!
And whose fault was it really? And in another one, it goes, all right, if God made woman from Adam's rib, what the hell did he make Adam from? And she just looks at many topics from a very angry woman's viewpoint.
Was her exhibit up when I was here?
It might have been.
I think it was.
Funny
The scroll?
Yes.
Yeah.
Funky little quilts with bodies on them, and she made a dogorium when her dog Madeline died, and she has dogs, raising on angel wings to the goddess in heaven.
Wow.
And she had a whole series of Greek urns and a whole mess of just really strange quilts, and she interpreted several several German philosophers in dead baby quilts and just really weird stuff.
Wow. Cool. Contemporary weird.
And angry.
Yeah, and angry.
That was the end of 2019.
Yeah.
Oh, 2019.
Just before COVID.
We have to make a hard summary because we have to head out in like.
See, there's
10
Jill
minutes.
telling me, wrap it up. It was great.
Okay, so slim quilt pants.
Slim.
What do you like on Quilt Nerd, or what would you love to see more of?
I love when we do watch parties. I think those are really fun.
Oh, the watch parties you like.
She likes the watch parties. Oh, she likes the watch parties. I thank you for saying that. I kind of like them too, but like I didn't know. Good to know.
Good. Oh, and you also said you also said find the block and like find the, okay, watch parties. Oh, I love it. That's great. Max, I know you don't watch all the time, or maybe you do. Maybe you do.
We're freezing on Max because I gotta say, KP Sews. So glad KP Sews first time chat. So glad I found this community. First live I've caught, all just fascinating. KP Sews. There's about to be a whole bunch of little emojis. They're called emotes in Twitch. And KP Sews, is it? Yeah, KP Sews. These are welcome baskets for you. And we are really glad you're here. And KP Sews, you are most welcome here. You found a really, really cool place on the internet. This is like a really groovy place to be on the internet. If you're a quilt person, you got sews in your name, so I'm feeling like this is a good space. This is a good spot, and I'm glad you're here. And everybody here, they're glad you're here too. I guarantee. You can see. Okay, let's wrap it up. Max, take us home.
I hear it in the background. I tune in.
Okay, good. What do you like?
I like how today we saw quilts that are made from kimono. I'm really interested in fashion. I think it would be cool to see clothing that was made from quilts.
Yeah, great. We can do that. We can absolutely do that. Cool.
I didn't know if Max, were you trolling me or were you serious? Either way, it was great. I've talked about this before. I don't know if you were goofing or if you were serious. Either way, we can do that. Maybe later. Everybody's tired of talking about it, but we could. Okay.
Cool. Good. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. That was really awesome. I appreciate your feedback and just talking with me. Excellent. Cool.
Yeah. That was the thing, everybody. I think he was sincere too. No, I think he was sincere, and I would, I'd love to talk about that. Love to talk about all the stuff. I want to talk about all the things with you all because you're just really, really great. Like KP Sews. I mean, if you know, you know, and you're here, so you know, it's a great group of people, and there's a lot of things that happen here. Offline, I want to just keep this slide up because Stephanie Cake is going to be at AQSG seminar presenting her research. So she went from like, quilt interested, quilt nerd kind of person to you're really going there and it's so cool. So lots of stuff happens, the show is the show and it's great. And I really have missed just being here with you in front of two monitors with Stephanie here. But people have become friends. There's been meetups. I've worked with a lot of you at this point, and I know that I will work with more of you. Kathy is amazing with research, helping me with some Bertha stuff. Kathy, we should have a Zoom call at some point. There's so much to talk about. Quilt folk stuff, just all kinds of things. And then Steph, this is a big time. You're presenting. I don't know. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's funny listening to everybody talk. I'm like, I used to sit on the outside of this. I've always been a quilt person. I mean, my mom made quilts when I was little, but yeah, you really inspired me to get really more into the historical stuff.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, because my mom's interest in history is big. But she's interested in a different segment of history than I am. And so I kind of always not discounted, but just didn't pay attention to what she was reading. And I think finding colonial revival, kind of understanding what that was, and I was like, I mean, I learned something constantly from you guys, from you, Mary. This is a fantastic community. So
it's good. It's a good time. It's a good time. And yeah, and so we want to do all the stuff, and we can't do it all, but we do as much as we can. And yeah, it's good. It's good. So thank you everybody for hanging in through May. It was quite a journey to get here. I will see you on Saturday night. Padma, I wanna play your video. It's my fault. Yeah, exactly. So Cake told me you made an amazing video. So I talked to her about it, and I'd like to show it on Saturday night. Padma made a video about a quilt, and it sounds like it's really amazing. So we'll do that. We're gonna do we have a giveaway for May? We do. We have right? Like, how could it be possible that we have another giveaway already? But we do, right? A May giveaway?
Do we?
I don't know. Don't listen. Wait, let me talk to the ladies before we say that, because I say things sometimes because I get excited, and then they're wrong, and then everyone's confused, and it's my fault. And then Robin is really nice and answers questions from people who are like, but she said. Anyway, so I love you all very, very much, and I really do. And it was great to see some of you in New England, and there's more content to come from all of that. And take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on Saturday night. Quilt Nerd Live. And then we'll go from there. Okay, bye everybody. Take care. Be good. See you, Cake. Okay.
Night.
Bye.